Hello and welcome back to Swing Trading Masterclass. And in this video, I'll take a look at the head and shoulders patterns, but I'll throw some indicators that you've learned about here in this class to kind of show you how you could have very well traded some of these patterns that we just looked at. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll add an indicator here. So let's go ahead and do the MACD on this Apple example. And if you remember, this was our head and shoulders pattern that we were looking at on the hourly with the breakdown here. Well, notice how we had the moving average crossover in the MACD, and then right here, just before the breakdown of the neckline, the MACD signal line crossed over the zero level. That is, without a doubt, a very clear use of the MACD. You can see that it got you in maybe a candle or two early, but you would have waited for confirmation of that neckline break and then just kind of took off after it. You also could have, of course, used like an EMA. Obviously, that could have been a straightforward way to use your EMA in order to kind of, take care of whether or not you are with the right trend. So with this being the case, let's go ahead and type in moving average exponential. And here we go. You can see that the 9 broke down below this trend line. It certainly was sloping lower. But let's go ahead and use, it's an hourly chart, so let's use something a little bit more slow. And you can see that the 20 definitely sloped lower as well. You could have also done something akin to maybe a crossover. So you could have used the 920 crossover. You can see that it crossed right before this breakdown. And clearly that would have been a clue that it was time to get involved. And in fact, if you did use the crossover with it, you really never considered selling until about here. And you really didn't get the signal until down here. So obviously it would have kept you in the trade much longer. So that's always something to keep in mind as well. Dollar CAD, we had this funky little head and shoulders here on the hourly chart. Just for memory here. We broke down. Well, the first thing that you need to pay attention to is that there was clearly support and resistance here. Right here at the 133 level. Or 133 and a quarter, excuse me. So you can definitely see that this was an area that would have been worth paying attention to. Notice how we kind of have a little area there. You could have also used several other indicators. So let's go ahead and use the RSI. Let's go ahead and put that on. And you will notice that we touched right here on this shoulder. We touched the oversold or overbought condition here on the middle head, and then just fell off of a cliff. That was a sign that perhaps we were running out of strength. And finally here in Bitcoin, this, remember this little micro kind of head and shoulders here. Let me go ahead and carve it out for you. You can see there it is. There was our neckline, and our target was right about there, if you remember. So with something like this, you're taking a look at, the first thing, of course, is the resistance based upon the pattern itself. Obviously, that comes into play as you would see market participants break that resistance as part of your signal. Go to Bollinger Bands, and you can see that we broke out and kind of walked right along that Bollinger Band. The first signal was we broke through the bottom of it. We came back and pierced the bottom of it a couple of times and then started walking right along. You could have used that as part of your confirmation. You also could use MACD you can see we got this little, go ahead and shrink this down so you can see a little easier. There's your pattern. Notice how we had the signal crossover right before the breakout. And that's one thing that MACD does seem to be really good at, is kind of leading these head and shoulders patterns. So that is something worth paying attention to.